Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Never Run Alone, a podcast exploring the definitions of the word run through the eyes, mind, and souls of humans refusing to stand still. Today we have Builders, where we deep dive into the world of a trailblazer, someone reshaping an industry, building new worlds, all whilst running at pace. Today's guest is Joe Greer, an undeniable creative force in the world of photography, running, and I'm sure plenty more. Born in Flint, Michigan, and raised in Central Florida from the age of 6, after losing his mum to complications from a car accident, he was adopted by his aunt and uncle who raised him, not without further upset and misfortune, but thankfully he's grown into the man, husband, and father who sits with us here today. Joe, welcome to Builders.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored and blessed to be here. In
welcome.
Australia, of all places, which is wild. I'm here right now. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome. And also co-hosted today by the founder and CEO of Forta Media, Chad Cohen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back.
Let's go.
Very excited.
Dude.
Not excited to have you here, bro.
I'm blessed
It's
to
going to be
here.
good.
You boys caught up this morning for a nice little run. I unfortunately just missed that little run. Beautiful Brisbane.
Yeah, he was pacing me. Yeah, you know, he was setting the pace. You know.
I
got cooked, man.
I asked Joe what zone he was in after that run, and he said -1. I said, didn't know that was a zone. I was in zone 4. So
I should probably go to the doctor. My heart rate is freakishly low.
Both of you.
I should definitely, go see somebody about that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, he often asked me about it,
Yeah.
and I had a look at your
You know
Stravas after someone mentioned it, and I was like, okay,
Is mine lower
Joe's...
than yours?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably all the Negronis, honestly. I think that's what it is. I think it's the Negronis. I guarantee you that's what it is.
Okay, we should get sponsored by Negroni for this pod. Beautiful. Well, this is going to be a fun conversation. You've been in Brisbane for how long?
For about 3 days now. So it's been my second time. Came in 2019 really quickly. I was on tour with an artist, and it was one night maybe. So really didn't get to see the city. So to be back for about a week now is awesome, especially at a beautiful time of the year, like summer right now. I mean, it's freaking 15 degrees in Franklin, Tennessee, where I live right now. And I know you guys don't think in Fahrenheit. So for Celsius, I don't know what that is, but it's really cold.
Would that be snowing? Does it snow in
It did
Franklin,
just snow today,
Okay,
yes.
there you go.
But I'm talking like very, very cold. So maybe like 2 or negative something.
That'd probably be negative.
Yeah. But yeah, to be here right now in a beautiful time of the year is incredible. It's a wonderful city. I'm here for work, and I'm just lucky to be hanging out with some familiar faces and getting a little tour. It's great. I'm blessed to be here.
Love it. Well, I'm excited to dive into, as I said, building, running, quite literally. Mm-hmm. You're a great runner by all accounts.
Trying.
Yeah, blazing the trail there. I vaguely sort of scratch the surface in that intro, but I would love for you to maybe unpack some of those early hardships you have showcased in a lot of great pieces online. Moving Still documentary that came out at the end of last year, a couple of podcasts that I listened to with Nick Bear, and several others that I saw on YouTube, and I'm sure there's many others on the internet. But I would love to know, from all that's happened in your life, from losing your mum at the age of 6, being adopted, starting to run in 8th grade, these moments, can you look back and see what was maybe one clear defining moment or a period in time that has shaped Joe Greer that sits in front of us today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, obviously the transition of losing my mother to then, which happened in Michigan, and then being kind of like shipped down to Florida at about age 6 to my aunt and uncle who I've never met, my cousins who I never met. I remember arriving that day, and then it was kind of terrifying at first, but then I saw that they had a really big outdoor pool, and I thought that was pretty sick. And I was like, maybe this won't be so bad. Which is funny because within hours I was ready to go run around the pool. I remember this. It's so vivid in my mind, especially at like age 6, and the trauma that I was dealing with at the moment. I find it pretty hilarious that this memory sticks out to me. I mean, I'm talking like hours after being shipped down there. I see that they have a pool. I'm so stoked. And I don't think I could swim at the time. I remember learning to swim there. So I had a life jacket on, and I'm like running around the pool, and I freaking step on a wasp, like a bee, and stung my foot. And it was like the worst day it was horrible. Not the worst day of my life. Worst day of my life probably just happened. Losing my mom. I'm sorry. I have dark humor. Forgive me. That's how I process things. But that was horrible. I was like, dude, what is this place? It's hot as flip. what am I doing here? Who are these people? I mean, there was so much going on in my little 6-year-old mind, only to step on a damn wasp in the first few hours of me being there was pretty hilarious now when I look back. But yeah, that was a pretty wild transition, as you can imagine, very confusing. But you know, I don't know, man. I think, especially now being a father, and my son is a year and a half years old now, and I think kids are incredibly resilient. And I think for me, that's what that was. I got thrown into a situation that was less than ideal. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I think just by how resilient kids are, and have now seen it through the lens of a father with my son, I think that's one of the main things that kept me just going back then. I was in a foreign place, foreign people, foreign land. Who are these, like, what? I'm living with these people now. Like, who are they? They're family, but that's my aunt, that's my uncle. But like, it was so bizarre. And a 6-year-old mind trying to wrap around that concept or that type of transition. But at the same time, I was a kid. I wanted to go play. I wanted to go kick the ball, throw the basketball in the hoop, play catch with my older brother or cousin. And then, yeah, those younger years were great. I think I had a decent childhood, honestly. I've played a lot of sports. Florida's a great sports state. Did the soccer, did the basketball, the baseball. And then in 8th grade, I was trying to get in shape for basketball. And in the fall season, they had cross country. And I was just like, oh, let me go. You know, in 5th grade and 6th grade, 7th grade, they would always do, like, for PE. I don't know if you guys do it here in Australia, but we'd have to, like, run a mile or a meter for you guys, or K. Yeah. But we'd have to run a mile, and I was always really good at that. Like, I broke all the school records, but I didn't really think anything of it. I just wanted to play basketball with my friends. I never even considered that running was a thing or a sport. And then I found out about cross country. I was like, oh, that could be fun. I kind of like running. And so I did it purely just to get in shape for basketball. And I had an incredible 8th grade season and was like, won all my races in the region. And then went and played basketball. It was horrible and never started, and like sat on the bench most of the time. And then I get to high school, but actually baseball was my favorite sport. American baseball, that was like what I was the best at in my mind. So I go to tryouts for baseball in my freshman year of high school, and I didn't make the team. I remember them pulling me in. It was like, son, you were trying out for the wrong sport. Talk to Coach Byrne. You need to be running track and field and cross country. During some of the tryouts, they had like some workouts on the track, and as a freshman, I was just destroying all the seniors, and it was really in the moment. It's absolutely, I was obliterate. I mean, I was devastated. You know, knowing that I wasn't good enough to make a freshman JV baseball team was horrible, because I played a lot of baseball growing up. But it was kind of like, son, you're in the wrong realm here, the wrong lane. We need you to go do this running thing. And I was pretty devastated, but sucked it up, slept on it, and then went and tried out for the track team, and the rest is history. And that was the rest of my high school career, cross country and track. Had a very fun time, learned a lot, grew a lot, had a lot of great races, more bad ones, and tried to run in college a little bit after I graduated in 2007 at Liberty University in Virginia. But after that first cross country season, it was my first time kind of away from home. I was a very sheltered kid. Rarely had friends over, wasn't allowed to go to friends' houses. High school felt like I'm not exaggerating, but it kind of felt like a prison. Like, I literally went to school, cross country practice, and I had to be home immediately after. I didn't even have a car. Like, my parents picked me up. It was just this like weird thing. And I look back in the moment, I was like, what is going on? Like, all my friends are hanging out and all this stuff. And it was just a really bizarre season. And I think my adopted mother, bless her, she was terrified that I would end up like her sister, my mom. My mom was a little bit of a wild child, a little bit of a partier. You know, she died in a drunk driving accident. Thankfully, that was not her fault. But I think my adopted mother was just a little scared that I would end up in a similar situation. So I think she was a little bit stricter on me than all my other siblings. And when I say siblings, I mean my cousins that I was raised with. But in the moment, as a 16, 15, 17, 18-year-old mind, you just think, dude, this sucks. Like, I can't go. never drank, not that I wanted to, but like never went to parties, never did anything that. And so when I was at Liberty, my freshman year of college, I just was like, I got the first taste of freedom like I've ever had in my life. And I wasn't like, I didn't want to go party. I didn't want to go do a bunch of crazy nonsense. I just was like, this is what life feels like. This is what freedom feels like. I can go to bed whenever I want. I can wake up whenever I want. Kind of, I mean, I got to be at class and I got to do my things or go to practice. But that was my first taste of just real life as an 18-year-old going on 19. And after that, I was like, dude, I do not want to go run 10 miles right now. Are you kidding me? No, I'm going to go see if I can, see what these girls are about or see if I can find a wife or something. Like I was just a social butterfly. Like I came alive. I was a very social, extroverted individual, and I got to be that person while I was at school. But when I was home, it was my extrovertedness was very just closeted. I had to act a certain way at home. I had to be, and I couldn't be that at home. And so when I was living 7 states away from Florida, I just finally got to be exactly who I am now and what I wanted to be. And that was just a wild time. Like I said, I didn't do anything crazy. It was a Christian college, so there's nothing we could do. But it was just the taste of freedom was electric. And I associate like that season of my life to like the artist and the photographer that I am now. I think the way that I see the world is through that lens, pun intended, of just being an incredibly curious person. My mom who passed was a very curious person. That was something I've always been told about her. I think I adopted that from her. And thankfully, my son has that now. He's incredibly curious about everything. Even when things are not good for him or bad for him, and I try to direct him in the right way, he's still he wants to. And I love that about him. And I want to foster and encourage that in him. But for me, I always have been a very curious person. And that started to kind of like come to life when I was at Liberty, and then I got into photography in my early 20s, and then that just exploded. The rest was history. Once I discovered photography, it was like, this is it. This is the thing that has been missing from my life for a very long time. And now fast forward 12 years, still taking photographs. I still feel like a kid. I still feel like it's the first time I picked up a camera, which back then was an iPhone 4, in 2011. So there's so much more that I could go into, and I've skipped a lot, and that we would literally be here for an hour and 20 minutes. But the documentary, like you mentioned, goes into great detail of things that I didn't mention and kind of just breezed past. Also wrote a book kind of detailing some of these situations as well. But I think the documentary on YouTube, which is free for anybody to watch, Eric and his team absolutely crushed it. I think painted a really powerful picture of just dealing with kind of forgiveness and hardship and trauma, and to see all the amazing feedback from that film over the last several months has been incredibly encouraging to know that people, believe it or not, that have gone through similar things, that are adopted, that have lost a lot of money from, that's another part. I was supposed to get a lot of money from my mother's accident, and my adoptive family stole all of that. So there's been a lot going on, but all that to say, I'm incredibly grateful to be breathing air right now in my lungs, and to be healthy, and to have married the woman of my dreams, and to have a son now, and to have the privilege and the blessing to travel the world and do what I love for a living, and to meet incredible people. I'm doing amazing things, and learning what a schooner is, and knowing that you can kind of say Joe with an R on the end. Joe. That's freaking crazy. Joe, no.
Learning a different dialect of English.
Anyways, but no, yeah, I'm all that to say, I'm I can definitely get deeper into anything if you guys have questions, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Oh, and to kind of bring it back to running, I took running off after that first freshman year at Liberty, and when I discovered kind of photography, I was like, dude, I'm done with running. This photography thing has my whole universe. This is it. This is what I'm focused on. I think from age like 21, 22 to 31, I maybe went on like 10 runs in like 9-10 years. I can count them on, 2 hands. So like I gave it up. Like I truly did not care about running, didn't want to do it. I was obsessed and possessed with this photography thing. And I think I needed that. That's got me to where I'm at in my career right now. Like that was very crucial and important. And we were talking about it on our run today. But like, I think also taking that decade off really preserved my legs for this season of life, this marathon journey that I'm on right now at almost age 36. I think taking all those years off really left a lot of life in my legs to be competitive in my mid 30s, which I think I'm close to being in the Masters division in the US. I'm not kidding. So I'm very grateful for that. Looking back now, and the moment that running's having right now is just really spectacular. So to see running having a serious moment in culture is incredible. And so that's kind of I got back into running about 4 years ago at the start of COVID, when work stopped for pretty much all creatives and travel. The world shut down, and I needed something to do and wanted to get healthy. And I fell back in love with my first love, which was running.
Beautiful. Thank you for all that context.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That was a very long intro.
When I first started at Fordham just over a year ago, you were one of the first sort of main creators that Chad pointed out to me as being someone that the creatives at Fordham Media look to as inspiration, have a lot of admiration for. I don't know if you'd like to add much to that, Chad, but yeah, I've followed you since then, and obviously seeing a lot of your photos in that time, stuff you've put out on YouTube has been very inspirational. I'm nowhere near as talented with a camera as the boys here in the room, let alone the boys back in Sydney, but it's something that I love. I see Chad do it as well with things that he puts out. Like, I feel like we all have that in us as people. You found it at 21, 22, you said. What sort of kicked that off, and where do you think that came from? Because you mentioned as well your mum had a lot of curiosity, and that's something that you were naturally curious about. Was that just a form of unpacking that curiosity?
Yeah, that's great. That's a great question. I was not looking to become a photographer. I mean, if you would have told me that 12, 15 years ago before I started, I'm like, dude, that makes no sense. Like, I went to a Bible college to be a minister, to be a pastor, like of a church. Like literally that's what I felt like I was called to. And so I went and I did this thing, and I'm living in the Pacific Northwest, a Florida boy, living out in the mountains, seeing snow for the first time, experiencing fall with the leaves changing, and seeing these wild, vast, beautiful landscapes. I was just enthralled with the beauty that was around me. And at the time, before I discovered photography, I was like, this is like, how do I even capture what I feel right now? And then the iPhone came out, Instagram came out, and that was like a big thing. And I started seeing people in 2010, 2011. Matt was like probably 6 years old at the time, I think. But I remember at that time, like everybody was getting on that app. And I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. And so I had an Android like an idiot. And I went and got an iPhone, spent all the money that I had. I was a broke, poor college student. So emptied my bank and bought an iPhone 4. Downloaded Instagram just so I could post ridiculous looking photos onto my Facebook so my friends and family back home could see it.
I was going to say, are they still on your Instagram?
Oh, absolutely not, bro. Those are archived. Big time.
Bring them back, I say.
If you go back far enough, you'll see some of those old days, but there's about another 150 photos before that last photo on my feed. That are archived that no one will see but me. Maybe I'll put them in a book someday.
I was going to say, bring that out as a book.
It would be horrible, and people would be, spending money on garbage. But no, I love looking back on those early photos because you can just see the progress, right? I think that's such a beautiful part of the artist's life is like, how can you track, the success or the growth that you've had as an artist if you just can't look back on the work and you have to cringe a little bit? You're like, oh, dude, why did I think this composition was compelling? Or what was I doing with these colors? Like, why did I edit this way? Or what did I see here? Like, oh, okay, that had potential, but I ruined it with this. Those go through in my mind often when I look back on my early work, but I also look back on it with great fondness because there was just a purity to it, an innocence. I didn't know anything, and I'm figuring it out. Like my whole career started on an iPhone 4. You think about that? Like I didn't have a camera. These cameras here, like dude, if you would have handed that to me in 2012, I'd be like, beat it, get lost. I'm going to take out my 8 gigabyte iPhone 4 and I'm going to go take photos. And I was just obsessed with it. And it was the most electrifying thing I think I've ever encountered in my entire life. And then that started to like catch fire, and I'm like going to my classes. I'm writing sermons. I'm studying ancient biblical Greek, and I'm just trying to like, dude, is this what I'm going to be doing? Or like this photography thing is like wild. And then it started, like, people started following me and wanted to, like, look at my photos and comment and like them. I'm like, who the heck are these weirdos? Who are these strangers that want to follow and look at my photos? And that was kind of bizarre, and that started to grow. And then it was in 2013, 2014, I graduated. I was kind of forced into situations like, do I go to seminary and continue my education, or do I try to pursue this iPhone thing? And I was working at Apple at the time. And I tried to, like, let me just try to see if this photography thing happens. And I ended up getting a job offer from VSCO, VSCO, like an editing app. Worked with them for a little bit, for about 10 months. In 2014, 2015. And that was my art school. That I would not be where I'm at in my life, professionally, or even just geographic, like where I'm at in my life, if I did not get that job at VSCO. That obliterated my understanding of photography and art and what it was, or what I thought it was at that time, which was incredibly shallow, incredibly surface level. And they built it on an incredible foundation of art history, photography history. I mean, week one, these names may not mean much if you guys aren't in the kind of the photo world, but like I'm studying like some of the greats, the photo greats like Alex Webb, and he's a very complex photographer that has very busy compositions. And just like a simple landscape photographer, as what I called myself at the time, I'm studying, they give me homework to study his work, and I'm just like, this dude's famous. These photos, like now he's like one of my favorites and he's an absolute legend. But I'm just like, that just opened up my eyes to this whole photography thing. I'm like, oh, this is so much deeper and more beautiful than I ever could have fathomed with just these beautiful landscapes. I still love landscapes. That was my first love. That was my entry into the photo space. But VSCO really shaped me, and they were, and I'm still friends with a lot of them today. But to get back to your original question, which I went off a rabbit trail, like I mentioned to you that I was going to do that. What was your question? I
think it was, how did the curiosity foster into getting into the art of photography?
I told you that was going to happen. I apologize. I am a pretty, like I mentioned, I went to Bible college, and I'm still a practicing Christian, and I'm still, my faith is still a big part of my life. I do believe God created us as creative beings. First thing that he ever did is he created. It's hardwired into the human DNA for us to be creators. And so I think that's a big reason why I am where I'm at and why I started what I started, especially with my theological background. I was in the middle of me learning the scriptures and studying Greek and learning the theology of the Christian faith, and then I've discovered this photography thing, and I'm like, wait a second, this goes together in a way, and that really, I think, is a big reason why that happens, and you know, it's pretty wild that to think that I was heading down a path to become a preacher, which is on a stage behind a pulpit, speaking and teaching to a bunch of people. But now I downloaded a free app in 2011, and now I'm reaching more people than I ever would have if I had gone down that path with the photos that I make and the stories that I share. Like, what a trip that is. Like, that's wild to me that's how that happened. Like, and I'm just so fortunate, you know, photography has become the way that I communicate. That if you can move somebody with a still photograph with no movement, maybe there's a sense of movement within the still photograph, and you can feel the tension and the emotion and the movement in a still photograph. But if you can make somebody feel something, man, that's powerful, and it's hard, and you can't do it with every photograph. And sometimes you post a photo and it may mean something to you, but then somebody else from Arkansas sees it and it triggers a nostalgic moment for them. My gosh, there's power in photography. There's power in what we create. And I believe that all stemmed from my understanding of God being a creator, creating us. And I think we're just, as humans, wherever you fall on the faith spectrum, I believe, or lack thereof, I believe we were created to be creators. I mean, it's in us. It's in us. Anyways.
Alrighty, quick insert here to all of you watching on YouTube. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying this episode. But if you're not already, could you please subscribe? And we'd love you to leave a comment. And most importantly, share it with a friend, someone you think needs to listen to the thoughts of whatever's going on in this episode. Hopefully it's of value to you if you're listening thus far. I'm sure it has been, and thank you for doing so. Also give us a follow on the Instagram. We're also available audio only, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in another episode, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this one. All the best.
One of the things we discussed, and you were speaking about stories at the moment on our run this morning, we discussed like building. I said to you how I've come to the conclusion that it's a beautiful thing to be able to build a life that is a life full of stories. Yeah. And I sent you a long message on New Year's Eve, which was basically like, Joe, Happy New Year. I wish you all the health, wealth, success, and happiness and everything in between. The thing that's inspired me most about your work is I look at a single image that you put up on your socials or wherever it might be, and I'm like, how is this thing speaking to me? What I'm curious about in your journey is you've obviously had a life that feels like a story. You've encountered so many different things along the way. How do you think those experiences have shaped some of the stories that you see in your work that inadvertently might mean something different to someone in Arkansas?
That's a great question and a very hard one to answer. I really, I'm obsessed with photographing, studying. I was mentioning this at breakfast, how I'm always seeing life through a frame. I'm never off the clock. Like I may not have my camera on me, which I don't, but I'm constantly I do have my iPhone, but these four little, corners here permanently glued over my eyes, and I'm constantly viewing life through that frame. And it's an absolute blessing to see it that way. Sometimes it's hard when I don't get to make the photograph and I just see this beautiful moment pass me by, but it's precious because it's here and it's gone in a matter of an instant, and I have to pay attention and I have to study it. And that's a big part of how I'm able to keep my creative engine, my creative mind sharp, is I'm constantly analyzing moments that I get to photograph and more importantly, don't get to photograph. And I get to study those. Okay, what drew me to this? What was it? Was it the light? Was it the emotion? Was it the human connection? But I'm just obsessed with the human experience. And it's complications. Life is challenging. Life is hard. Life is beautiful. Life is fun. Life can be happy. Life can be sad. Life can be tragic. Life can be giving. And I have experienced a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And I think that the trauma and the growth from that and being saved from that, I think really allows me to tap into the human condition photographically, that I'm able to see things that feel familiar. But more importantly, and I think where some of my strongest photographs stick out to most people is when I make a photograph that is foreign to me. Like, okay, I don't know what this is, this interaction of love, this expression of a father and a son on the streets of Manhattan. I didn't have that. What is this? Let's tap into this. Let's get closer. What can I make here? This is beautiful. Like I'm obsessed with, and it's been in the last few years where I realize subconsciously that I'm starting to photograph things that I didn't experience. And I'm not going out looking for things I didn't experience, but I just am drawn to things that are hard, things that are beautiful, things that make sense, things that don't make sense, things that are funny, things that are serious. I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, the best part about what I do, and one of my favorite things about being a photographer, is I'm always on the clock. Like, as long as my with me, man, I'm like, the idea that you have to like clock in to be a photographer is just wild to me. Like, I'm always seeing through a frame. Like, if we're out on a run, if we go out to dinner tonight and have a steak and I have my camera on, I'm just like, okay, what do we got here? What if there's like a beautiful family celebrating something right next to us and the light's coming in perfectly and I don't have, like, I just love just being ready to make a photograph. And then sometimes I can't, and that's okay. And I get to sit in that moment and study it. But that's a really hard question to ask. But
I think the way that you've described that is really interesting, and I see parallels in the way in which you speak about your work and you as a person. And not to bring like follow account or who you are as a person, like you've grown dramatically and your work is so deserving of all the people that follow you for it. But when I look at what you could potentially be as a human and who you actually are in terms of how grateful you are for the work and the experiences and everything, you you come across as, it's like very humbling to be in your presence. And I said that to Rina as well. Like, it's really fascinating that when you meet people who have been through a lot in their life, the way in which you can often interact with them is almost humbling. It's like so nice to be sitting across the table from someone who is so honed in on their craft and so obsessed, but is still so giving and so able, you're so able to relate to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know him, but a good friend of Rin and I, by the name of Zach Pogrob, in New York, he writes a lot about obsession. And a lot of what you're just saying, and a quote that's recently resonated that he wrote, to paraphrase, was basically, when you're obsessed with something, you're always on. There is no work and there's no pleasure. You are just simply always on.
Yeah.
And I think that in what you were just saying, it is so prevalent. It's like when you love something so much, there is no such thing as being on or off. Like, I was sitting around the pool today having a chat to people, and yes, my leisure is there, but all I'm thinking about at the same time is like, how do I connect with this person to give them value, to bring them into the Fordham world, to help them grow, to help us grow. And it's just really fascinating to hear you talk and resonate with such an impressive quote around obsession and possession. So
I love that.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Oh, I appreciate it. No, that's great. That's beautiful. I love that.
Where do you think that obsession came from? Because you started in photography at 21. So I'm guessing you seeing the world through a frame wasn't as a 15-year-old. So it must have been something that you cultivated in that creative act. I would love for you to...
100%. I think that came from literally my upbringing as an athlete. I think being thrown into the world of sports and the desire of wanting to be really great, even though I wasn't great at soccer and I wasn't great at baseball. I couldn't make my high school JV baseball team. I wasn't great at basketball. I was okay and decent at running, but like, I think the athlete in me, when photography came, it was like, you're not really competitive in photography. That's just not a thing. I mean, you can be, and then you can be a douchebag and just burn all your bridges and just be like, no, F that dude, I'm going to be competitive and crush all of you guys. Like, that's not how I worked. Some, unfortunately, photographers work that way. That's not ideal.
It's like you want to run though.
Say what?
It's like you want to run though.
But when it comes to like physical activity, that is and that's why I love getting back into running as an adult. I'm so unbelievably competitive, and you guys haven't seen it to its full extent yet.
We might say tomorrow morning, right?
I think everybody say that what?
We might say tomorrow morning.
I'm gonna destroy you. Like, hang on if you can, brother. But I am turning on the jets, and I am not looking back. So hang on for dear life. No, I'm kidding. But I'm dead serious.
We'll go to before and after.
No, I just think, I mean, I also think that's one of those, like, we're humans. We love to compete. That's why, I mean, you look at the Olympics and how old and ancient it is. We've been doing it for centuries, you know, and I think that's not something I run from, where I try to be just this really nice, polite. I do try to be nice and polite, but also when it comes to like ping pong, or it's like, I'm gonna annihilate you. I'm gonna talk a big game. You may beat me, and then I will, like, bro, you crush me. More power to you. But like, I love having that little outlet, because I don't get that outlet with photography, and so it's fun to have competition and set goals for yourself and to work at it. I've had a handful of running buddies. We're all kind of within a few minutes of each other in the marathon world. And I'll get some of them, and some of them they'll get a new PR and get me, and it drives me nuts. And it's like, I can't believe they beat me. I can't believe it. By a minute, by 2 minutes, by 3. Okay, what do I got to do? How can I reassess? How can I do? And it's that just, I'm at almost 36. I need that. Maybe somebody who's 28 and's got an unbelievable deep well of talent, but it keeps it fun, keeps it interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a prick about it. I just love having fun, and those that are close to me know that. Even my wife and I, we're very competitive. She'll beat me in a board game, and it's just like, I can't sleep. How did she beat me? But it's fun. You need that in life, or at least I do. But anyways, what was your question?
You need that. Well, it was like, how did you initially foster the seeing the world through the frame?
Yeah,
but that competitive nature seemingly was always there.
No, I think with photography, it was just like this new obsession came into my life, and then I didn't want to stop learning. I was a sponge. I need to soak in everything. Okay, what's composition? Didn't know what composition meant. What's highlights when you're editing? What the hell's a highlight? I don't know what that is. Okay, if I drag it down here, this is what it does. Okay, so what's contrast? What does that mean? Or like, how do I compose? And then when I got a real big boy camera and a digital camera, I was like, how do I freaking do this? I'm just by nature just obsessed with growth and with learning. I'm never going to be where I want to be in the photography game. I'm always going to be wanting more and always wanting to learn something. Even to this day, I shoot mainly on film. I still take bad photos. I take more bad ones than I do good ones. And those bad photos are a beautiful learning curve for me to like, okay, what worked here? Well, how did I miss this? Okay, I had a little shaky hand at that moment. I moved the camera too much when I was shooting because I had a lower shutter speed. Or I freaking underexposed 2 stops, and you can't underexpose film. It turns
So you
out
go back and review.
Yeah, I mean, I get all my photos right when I send out a roll of 36 photos back. I get them, back, and so I look through every single one. I'm like, oh, dude, I got 10 decent photos out of 36. Shit, like what happened? Okay, let's look back at these real quick. And it's just like a quick few minute process. I don't sit all night and it keeps me up at night and I'm studying it, but I give...
Unless your wife takes a dozen better photos, right?
Exactly.
And then you've only done
Which she
10.
does. She takes way better photos than me. She actually takes all my photos. I actually don't take them. Shout
out to Maddie.
Not a photographer. Shout out Maddie. No, I give those bad photos a moment for me to sit with and to study and be like, okay, will this happen again? Or if I encounter a similar scene, let's make sure we get it right. And I just think the little Joe that got adopted and was thrown into an unfamiliar territory and had sports really as my outlet. That's the only thing I had that was mine. I mean, they drove me there and they provided, they put the cleats on my feet and they gave me the running shoes. But like that was, whether it was soccer, baseball, basketball, or cross country and track, that was my thing. And I didn't have a lot of things as my own. That was all stripped from me when I lost my mom and I got shipped down to Florida and I was thrown into a complex living situation that was not of my own. And sports were my outlet and it was my space to feel seen. It was my space to compete. And as young boys, you need that outlet. I'm learning that now with my son. Like when he gets older, I'm not going to force him to sports, but like if he wants to do that, great. He's a little bit artistic right now. He's very interested in music, which is wild because I'm not musical at all. And so I hope that continues. We're living in Nashville, so that obviously makes sense. But no, I think photography, I was obsessed with getting better. I was obsessed with learning the medium and obsessed with getting to this place that I wanted to be. It's like, man, what if I could end up making money doing this photography thing? That'd be crazy. Like I started on an iPhone. I went to Bible college. I have a Bible degree. What are the chances I could do this photography thing? And one thing led to another, a lot of bad photos, first 4 or 5 years, no work, $0. Me spending money to go on trips, to learn, to take photos. And then the first one came, and then the second, and then the third. And fast forward another 6-7 years, I'm here now. And now I have the marathon thing where I get to have my little competitive outlet, which is so great for my mental health. But it's, I'm not really competitive within the photography space aside from myself. I have big goals set on where I want to be and where I want to take my craft and the work that I want to make. And I have high standards with that. And so that's really nice to have that kind of foundation.
Very cool. 8th grade was when you started running. You said it was your first love.
It was.
Right. So it was an outlet for you then. Why do you think you gave it up at the age of roughly, 21? You said you had 10 runs between the age of 20 to 31.
Right.
So I would love to know that, but then also, share a bit about what running was like back in Crystal River.
Yeah.
Right? For the Pirates.
Yeah, for the Pirates. Yeah, Crystal River Pirates. Shout out. Man, I gave it up. The power of photography was real. It was the most real, powerful thing I've felt in a long time. And it took over my life in aggressive fashion. Like I can't explain it. Like I hope there are photographers and there are artists listening to this that can resonate with it. And maybe there are other mediums where we experience these kind of things in life where you encounter something so powerful and life-giving. And it was just like, this is what I wanted to do. Like that sense of purpose, like overwhelming, powerful sense of like, I think this is it. I think this thing I've been searching for of what I should be doing, I think this is it. Running? You want me to go run a 5K? Yeah, dude, get lost. Like I was so uninterested with running when photography entered my life. Like there's no other way to say it. Like there wasn't this like romantic, like, oh, but I still loved running and I tried to, and it fed my creativity. No. I was done. I've 10 runs in 10 years. Like it was, or less. I truly gave it up. And I paid, the cost, I was, 10 to 15 pounds heavier. I didn't feel good all the time, in terms of like my health and fitness, but I was so happy. But again, I would not trade it for anything. If I knew that 20 years ago that I would be really into marathons in my 30s, and like, dude, you're gonna, run decently fast in your marathon world, like I would be like, okay, that's fine, but I'm going to still give it up for a decade so that I could focus on this photography thing. I'm so grateful for the path in which it happened. I would not change that for anything. But it something had to go. When I was presented with a new obsession, something had to go. At least for that 21-year-old kind of, I didn't know anything. I was living on my own. I was poor. I had nothing, you know, I was working 4 jobs at one time in college, trying to navigate that whole situation. And
did you ever think about giving up, like photography? You said like 7 years, no jobs.
Oh, absolutely not. No. I think that's why when I pick up that camera, whether it's an iPhone or a film camera or a digital camera, I still feel like a kid. I think there was something so magical that happened, and even a blessing from the Lord that I didn't make money for that long, but I was obsessed with it. Like I wanted to learn, I wanted to grow, I wanted to build, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to eventually make money. And then when it happened, I was like, there's no way these people are going to pay me money to take photos. I would literally do it for free. Do they not know that? Do they not? And I still feel like that today. Like the fact that I have worked 12 years to get to this stage, to work with the clients that I work with, and to have the flexibility to pursue personal projects and work on my fine art photo books and to be in galleries around the world. Like I'm so grateful that this is my life now, but it wasn't that pretty. And there were times, especially early on in my wife and I's marriage, where I got let go of I was working like a kind of a 9 to 5 back in Portland, Oregon in 2015, and got let go before the holidays unexpectedly. And thankfully, my wife's kind of business started taking off at that time. And for 6 months after getting let go, I $0. And that was me stepping into full-time freelance photography in 2017. It's like, I'm going to kind of full on pursue this photography thing. And for the first 6 months, zero, nothing. Maybe been longer, maybe been like 8 months. Then we moved to New York and things started to change a little bit. I started to make connections and build, a life and a career out there. But but I look back on those seasons and those chapters with just like, man, like if one thing was different, like, I don't know if I'd be here right now. Like I had to have the humiliation of not being able to provide for my family for 8 months and trying to get jobs, trying to get work, and then nothing happened. And then things turned a corner, and yeah, man, wild.
That's cool.
I mean, that's unreal. I think as a business owner and listening to what you're saying, the way I look at it is we live in a world where instant gratification is something that is so prevalent. I look at a lot of like potential staff members or staff members who, a lot of them, as you know, are creatives, and they want everything now. Mm-hmm. And hearing your story around not only reviewing the shots that you take that aren't good, and also constantly, relentlessly working for 7 years before everything prevailed. Mm-hmm. What do you think, or what's your message to someone who is really obsessed and trying to hone in on their craft, but isn't currently willing to do the work and doesn't see the light at the end of the tunnel? Yeah. What is your message to that person? And if you were to go back and you knew the life that you've lived for the last 10 years, what would that message be?
Right. I would tell them, especially if they're not willing to put in the work, there's no way around it. You got to put in the work. And even like then that beautifully, parallels the marathon world. You're not going to get that PR, that PB, that sub 3, that sub 230, whatever it is that you're chasing. You're going to get that avoiding the work. You got to put it in. It's the only way forward. The hard work is the only way forward. And sometimes your results you could put in the work and then you still not get the results. That has happened to me for my last 3 marathons, that I have put in this goal, I've put in the work, and I've still fallen short. Okay. I think that's where, obsession comes in. Like I'm still obsessed with the marathon thing, so I'm going to keep going with photography. Having that dry season, 8 months of not having any work, but I'm obsessed with this thing. This photography thing gives me life. I'm going to keep going. So you got to put in the hard work. There's no way around it. I mean, yes, in the world that we live now, you can post a photo, you can share your video reel, and boom, viral next night. Life changed. We've seen it happen of freaking people all over the world. That can happen, but that is the 1%, the 2%. I think that's going to happen. It's not the normal way. And so I would say it's just, you got to, don't be discouraged if you go months to even years without getting a look, or without getting that email or getting that call. I was there for a very, very, very long time, but you have to be all in. If it's photography, if it's video, if it's any other form of art or anything not creative at all, but you're passionate about it and you're trying to make that your life and you're trying to make that your future and trying to make that your career, and you've invested 2 years, 3 years, 10K of equipment or gear or whatever it is that you need to do that thing, and it's still not working for you, keep going. Don't stop. The breakthrough is coming. It will happen. Consistency is the biggest thing in any other facet of life. In health and running and fitness, you know this, running a business, got to be consistent, got to show up. For me, it's learning how to do my damn strength workouts for my marathons, which I avoid. Joe, you got to be consistent. You got to do leg day. You got to do the squats and the deadlifts and the whatever. Joe, you got to fuel right. You got to wake up early. You got to, it's all about consistency, and these things are hard, and people want, I think, unfortunately, 2025, the age of the internet, the age of social media has created us to be extremely impatient. It's the most unhealthy sense of the word. I mean, we want it now. My God, we want it now. Please give it to me now. Immediate gratification. And that's why, as an artist, I like film. I don't have that immediate gratification. Okay, I got to wait weeks, days, months. Sometimes I have a fridge at my house with like probably 100 rolls right now over the last 6 years that it's just a random bag that I put stuff here and there. Like, I'll see it one day, it's going to be great, but there are times where I want to see it now. But like, film is a beautiful metaphor of just being patient and waiting. And every time I wait and I get those sodas back, I feel alive, but it's just learning to be patient and trusting that good things just take time. Good things take time.
It's interesting to hear you say that in the moment where maybe it wasn't a conscious decision, or it almost certainly wasn't, taking off the 10 years running, but you talked to maybe that helping you now in your mid-30s, having the legs for being able to run, 236? 236, yeah. Current PB, going for sub 230 at the moment, right?
Right.
So the delayed gratification of even running, even if it wasn't conscious, it's now paying dividends.
That's a great
point.
I didn't think of it that way.
Well, getting back into that 5 years ago, how did that impact your photography?
Getting back into running?
Yeah.
That
creative process. Because one other thing that I
spoke about this morning, how it actually fuels you now, which is
right.
Yeah,
so one other thing you mentioned I'm not sure where I heard it, but you mentioned never listening to music, whether you never do it when you run or most of the time.
Maybe 5% of the time I do.
Right.
Like today's treadmill run, I throw on some tunes, but it's almost
sure, because you're on a treadmill and maybe just looking at a blank wall. But if you're out, the landscape's ever changing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I always advocate to people, like, don't as much as you can.
Yeah, it feels like a superpower not having to have a crutch of always being stimulated. We're constantly stimulated all day. Phones go off, iPhone, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, people trying to get a hold of you. To have an hour to go out on a run, 10K, 12K, 10 miles, 5 miles, whatever it is, whatever metric you look at, imperial or metric system. Imperial is obviously the way to go.
Celsius or Fahrenheit.
Let's go. Shout out imperial system. Going out for a run for an hour. Please, if you're a runner and you're listening to this and you listen to music, leave the headphones at home. Unplug. Listen to the world around you. Listen to the sounds of the birds, the kookaburras, or whatever the hell they're called here. They're great. Oh, those birds that swoop down. I just learned about those. The swoopers, dude. The magpies. Dude, I will punch any magpie in the face if they're trying to swoop on my dome, dude.
Good luck.
Get lost. I'm going to be running my workout tomorrow with a helmet, like a Dimbus, like a Grom, dude. I'm learning all the slang here, dude. It's wild. But no,
get the headphones
Get
off.
the headphones off, y'all. Like, I promise you, it may be hard and weird and it may feel like naked almost, but like, God, this is strange. Well, it's because we're constantly tuned in. We're constantly stimulated. If we can decrease that a little bit, things become alive. Colors are more vibrant. Sounds are more rich. Your breathing becomes more in sync. You're listening to these things. It is my favorite thing to go on a 2-hour run in the deep part of a marathon block, and I got to run freaking 20 miles, 0 headphones, no music, no podcasts, no stimulant, aside from like, I got to hit these splits. I got to think about my times. I got to think about my fueling strategy. And then sometimes I think the beauty of it is you go out that morning on your run, just trying to run your freaking whatever, hit your paces, you have no agenda up here of what you're trying to accomplish. And then something just comes into your brain. It's an old memory, something triggers a nostalgic moment. Maybe you're dealing with some heavy stuff that you're going through in your personal life, and something that you see, or just a freaking rogue ass thought comes in aggressively and hits you. And as those endorphins are pumping and your blood's flowing and your stride is going, things start to just feel so in tune. You'll start to process, maybe it is you're going through a hardship, and maybe you're able to find a little bit of clarity in that moment. Maybe you're able to find a little bit of peace, maybe you're able to feel a little loved in that moment. I know that sounds weird and strange and super hippie-ish, but like those things have happened to me, especially dealing with like trauma that I've gone through. It's like, I'm not going on a run trying to deal with my trauma. It's just like, sometimes things hit me on this run. And sometimes I'm literally just thinking about getting back, posting that Strava, getting some coods, and then going about my day. You know what I mean? Like, I think by not being constantly stimulated by music or podcasts or whatever it is, and we zone out the world around us, we're more open and susceptible to these beautiful things that are all around us. And whether it's the run going on a snowy run right now in the States, there's this winter coming through, and you're seeing the beauty of snow and it just illuminating everything around you. You're able to see your neighborhood in a totally new way. Or for like me, an American here in Australia in the dead of summer, and I'm in a newish city that I haven't really properly explored, and I get to go run around and see the beauty of Brisbane. Like, what a blessing. Like, how ridiculous would that be for me to throw on some tunes, check out, and not even absorb the beauty of Brisbane. Like, I highly encourage runners or anybody that runs to just take them off, leave them at home. I promise you, you're going to find some beautiful things.
That's well said. Rin has convinced me over the last couple months to take the headphones out. And what you said about nostalgia is so true. The other day I was running through Centennial Park, and I don't know if they'd like mowed the lawns or whatever it was, but I got this like waft. I had no headphones in, and like this waft of like freshly mown lawns.
Yeah,
and it
just triggers something.
Straight back to like football season.
So
like
good.
Sitting out on the lawn when I was a kid, and my dad was like mowing it like crazy.
And not that you can't smell when you're listening to
not
music,
at all,
but
you're
you
just
probably
more,
wouldn't even
you're
think
more
about
aware.
it, right?
It's almost like more senses are there when you don't have a constant input.
They're way more heightened. I was happened to Matt when our first run when I got here. I smelt a flower here. I ran past a bush or something, and it triggered a memory that I have of my grandma. She had those exact same flowers outside of her garage in Florida, and it was a big part of my childhood. Around the time I got adopted, and I'd go to her house, we'd swim in her pool, and those flowers that was the same scent. 30 freaking years later, I'm smelling that in Brisbane, Australia, of all places, and it just transported me back to this moment before my life got turned upside down. And it's just like again, that could happen if I had the headphones, but I think that's that smell from my grandma. But I was more in tune to those memories and to that moment, and that was just a really beautiful thing. And I think one of the superpowers of running is take out the headphones. I promise you, it's going to take you places.
Beautifully said, mate. Changing gears slightly, big fan of yours and a good friend of ours, Chris Farrencothen. He ran New York alongside me. We ran together, trained together. He's a very fashionable man in the running world,
nice.
and I consider that you are as well.
I mean, my clothes have holes in it, and I wear stuff from like the 50s. So I don't know if that's fashion.
These days are cool.
Yeah,
I guess so.
You saw that,
Shout out Nike, dude.
Yeah, you saw that Satisfy statement.
Jeez.
What do you see in terms of whether it's inspiration or whether it's a crossroads of running in fashion? And are there any favorite pieces of yours? And
That's really cool. That's a great question. I think definitely the running fashion culture intersection is having a serious moment right now, and it's really cool. Obviously, I'm not speaking to Nike and them, copy and pasting what Satisfy is doing, but me and my kind of partnership and close relationships with Bandit, I think they're one, in my personal opinion, ones that are kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit in that intersection of art and fashion. But I think, my love of fashion now taking that into the running world, and it's been fun to just kind of explore things that work, patterns and colors. Excuse me, guys.
You good?
Was that hummus? I think for me, fashion has become a very big part of my life. I'm very drawn to American vintage, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s is something I'm really drawn to. And I think I think photographers have a really beautiful, how do I say this? Fashion's becomes pretty comfortable for me because it beautifully mirrors photography. Fashion's all about composition. You're piecing shapes together, pieces together, outfits together that work, right? Photographers work with color. And when I shoot film, and especially if it's color film, I'm looking for colors, reds, greens, blues, things that work and things that don't work. And I'm using my feet to put things in a frame that belong, building an outfit, composing an outfit, putting together things that belong, things that don't belong. I've realized it recently that like, oh, that's like the freaking same thing that I do with my photography. It's why it's so natural for me to put pieces together or use colors a certain way, or even translating into running. You know, I just have fun with it too. I think that's a big thing, is having fun with it. And I think there are a lot of amazing brands doing some really innovative and cool stuff in the running fashion world. It's fun to see it all happen. You know, it's kind of almost overstimulating because there's just so many amazing brands doing stuff, and brands hit me up all the time, you know, to want to send me stuff. And I'm just like, that there's another brand, there's another sick brand. It's just like, there's like 100 cool running clothing brands doing awesome stuff that aren't the big ones, that aren't the Nikes, the Adidas, the Ons, the whatever, but these underground indie brands that are exploring the intersection of fashion, art, and running. It's so cool to see it, especially as an artist, as a photographer, as a runner who loves fashion. It's just like, that's my whole freaking world right now. That's what I love in my personal life. So to see running have that moment right now is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. You'd have some thoughts, surely. You're a man who loves his fashion, albeit you mainly wear black.
Yeah.
95% of the time.
Gotta get you in some color, brother.
He's got some
green
shoes
right around here. Just a little bit of color.
Pipe down, Chaz.
Yeah.
No, I think, yeah, obviously, like through a lot of the work that we do, we connect with fashion brands, and running's become a large part of our life. And I think it's quite interesting. I know we had the conversation earlier today about Satisfy and Moth Tech and everything that's going on in that world, and we don't necessarily have to jump into that. But what I find really interesting is so much of what used to be perceived as not potentially being cool, some of these brands are innovating and making it cool. And we spoke about the fact, like when I was younger, I would only train in black sports clothes, because if I was dripping in sweat, I would think it's disgusting to be dripping in sweat, right? And now you've got someone like Satisfy, or a lot of people that kick in like wearing cotton shirts when you're running, and people will be wearing like a light green top and it's like dripping dark green that's stuck to the back, and that's like an aesthetic now.
So good.
And I think it's fascinating to, like you even ran in cotton this morning. Like it's such an interesting paradigm shift in the way in which all these different subcultures are coming together to create something that I think is so special. Like running has its beauty, fashion has its beauty, arts has its beauty, creative has its beauty, but there is this really, like, whatever the opposite of toxic is, intoxicating, let's call it, beautiful romance and created between the intersection of all of these different things. And that's just been something fun, being in the creative space and running for them and having a bit of a finger on the pulse in all these different industries has really fascinated me. And like obviously your outfit this morning, put it in the vlog, was sick. You know, just your little vintage top and your banded tights. It's just. Oh no, you weren't wearing vintage.
In the gym,
today.
I had the vintage top.
In the gym, you had the vintage top.
Yeah.
So this morning's run was a bandit top. But it's just fascinating, different colors. You know. Right. But for us, I don't have too much to comment on that. But I just think it's a really interesting, that center intersection and romance that's created between the different arts, cultures, running, etc. is something I've never experienced before.
Right, and I think it's only going to explode this year. I'm excited to see what happens in 2025 and what brands decide to push the boundaries really far, and to watch Nike copy them. Sorry, Nike.
Yeah, you can tell.
I still love your shoes. I race in your shoes. So
there you go. Sponsored or?
No, absolutely not. No, I'm not sponsored yet. But if you want, they don't have to listen to this. They're not.
We'll edit it all out. We can always cut that up in post. This has been a fun conversation. Thank you very much for joining us. Got a couple more questions, but really enjoyed your time getting to chat with you this morning as well. But I would love to know, you're 35 now, right? 36 next month. What do you hope to build in the next 35 years? If you could paint a vision, 70-year-old Joe, what does that look like?
That's a good question. Dude, I'll be old as flip. That's crazy.
Will you still be running?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, winning those grand master divisions at 70. No, in 35 years, what I hope to build is a strong and loving, beautiful family. That is the one thing that is most important to me. My wife and I are Lord willing, not done having kids. We only have our son Oliver, and we want to have a handful of more kids, and to build a big, beautiful family. That is of the utmost importance for me. Photography is going to always be around. I tell people I'm never going to retire. As long as my eyes, my mind, and my hands and feet work, not even feet, I could be in a wheelchair and still shoot. But as long as the main things, my vision and I don't go insane and I can use my hands, I'll be making photos until the day I die. I'm not going to hang it up at 60 and go walk on the beach, collect some shells. No. I'm going to be shooting until I can't shoot no more. And so with that will come a lot of successes and a lot of losses, probably more losses than successes. So when it comes to the next 35 years, it's building my family, and because that's something that is going to live far beyond my life when I'm gone. And that's something that I'm most proud of what I've built so far. It's still in its infancy stage and young, but in 35 years, all eyes that I have are looking towards the family that I build and my kids and the families that they build, hopefully one day. So, yeah.
Beautiful. One sort of follow-up question that I'd preempted to that, which maybe isn't applicable, but I feel like asking it anyway. What do you feel is the biggest challenge to that? And if anything, where do you feel like you need help in building that? Because I feel like you're clearly a successful guy, at least in what I value as successful in terms of having a wife, having a son, having a career that can allow you to travel and see different parts of the world, having a body that can do great things like run a marathon.
Yeah.
But where are things that you can, build and improve on?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is just making sure that I don't let any amount of career or photography or even running success just get to my head. You know, I've photo space for a while now, and especially the way that Instagram is gaining a lot of, attention a decade ago, it's continuing to go that direction. Like I've had to answer these questions and deal with this for over a decade now. It's not like it just happened overnight last week, right? Like this is something I've been dealing with before many people listening weren't even on Instagram. So I've had a lot of time. I've had a lot of amazing people in my life to help just redirect my focus and to be very grateful for how a free app has radically changed my life. I met my wife. I found my passion. I've been able to travel the world. I've been able to meet incredible people because of that app. But also to know at the end of the day, it is just an app, and that the number that lives next to my name is not associated to any value that I put on myself, that it's something that I can look at and be like, that's a lot of hard work that I've gotten to this place, and a lot of photos that I've made, and a lot of experiences that I've had, and a lot of amazing people that I've met along the way that have been incredibly supportive of the work that I have been able to make. But I think the biggest thing and the biggest culprit for me not getting to where I want to be in 35 years of having a beautiful, big, healthy, awesome, loving family is just keeping my priorities straight and keeping things in line, and not letting any number next to my name get to my head, or any big job with X amount of dollars coming my way, but to just think back at my story and in my life, and because for everything that's happened in my life, I should be dead in the ditch somewhere. I should be not where I'm at right now. Absolutely not. I shouldn't have never married Maddie. There's no way that should have ever happened. But the way that my story is, like, I should just be mad at the world, mad at everybody. F you, can't trust nobody. Everybody's out to get me. And if you watch the doc, you'll understand more of that, of just like, I shouldn't be where I'm at. Like, it doesn't make sense. But in my view of the world and my view of faith and God, I feel like he had a plan for my life. And he wasn't done with me at age 6 when my world got turned upside down and I was thrown into this situation. He had a plan for what he was doing and where he wanted to take me. And I just had to trust him. And so for me, it's just not getting too big for my britches, and being real and approachable, and being loving and kind to others, and to be pleasant to be around, and pleasant to work with, and to work hard. If I do all those things, I think in 35 years, I'll be exactly where I want to be. Beautiful, mate. Thank you very much for sharing. Any final thoughts?
No, honestly, that was awesome.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for giving me the time. And I'm blessed to be here, and you guys have been incredibly hospitable. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, mate. Hopefully we can line up a speed session in 35 years and I might get you then.
You might get me. No, you probably will. No, you'll be able to hang tomorrow.
We'll see if the legs hang on.
No, you'll be able to hang tomorrow. I can't wait for it. It's going to be great.
Great. Cheers, brother.
Cheers,
Legend.
guys.